All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Minnesota Vikings. I hope you guys are doing well. 2 nights ago, unfortunate loss in the wild card round of the playoffs to Los Angeles Rams. And it's important to zoom out because this team, in the offseason with J.J. McCarthy, the 10th overall draft pick, the thought process was not necessarily like a rebuild, but more of like a retool, right? And you ended the season as a literal, legitimate Super Bowl contending team. So I read a cool article saying you got your proof of concept. Your GM's cooking. The Vikings are the first 14-win team in NFL history to lose in the wild card round, but that's kind of a weird statistic. At the end of the day, man, I think there's a lot more clarity on Minnesota moving forward. Sam Darnold had 82 yards lost with his 9 sacks. That's the most in playoff history. And here's what was annoying. Of his 9 sacks, 6 came after 4.4 seconds or more of holding on the ball. So when I watched that game, like obviously, right tackle goes down. Your left tackle went down early on in the season, and Cam Robinson did a perfectly fine job as the fill-in left tackle. But you have a stud, one of the best left tackles in the NFL, and he tore his ACL early on. Just once again, the point is when you zoom out, I think this is a lot more clear for Minnesota moving forward. The thought process was always going to be J.J. McCarthy. He was always going to be the future. If you guys remember, we were even wondering, is JJ going to start week 1? If he doesn't start, when is it going to be? Is it going to be after the first month? Is it going to be after the second month? We want to see JJ McCarthy get NFL reps so we can move forward long term. So it sucks Sam Darnold's performance in the last 2 games, but I think it's much better than paying him like $40 or $50 million a year and still having a rookie QB on his rookie contract. So folks, welcome back to the channel. We're going to kind of ramble and rant about this Minnesota Vikings team because I'm very optimistic for the future, and I think everybody should be as well, as unfortunate of a loss that was. But before we do, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content along with plenty of Vikings videos every single week. If you could try and get this one to 200 likes, folks, that would mean the absolute world to me. So I got a little bit nervous because I saw this tweet, and it was the most snaps entering unrestricted free agency. And number 1 was Minnesota at 45.4%. Now, when I looked into the nitty gritty and the meat potatoes of it, they're going to be just fine. All right. But the reason I was even more concerned is because I know they have the least valuable collection of 2025 NFL draft picks of any other team in the National Football League. So you still have your first round pick, number 24. You have a third round pick, number 97. And then you have 2 fifth-round picks because you traded your 2025 second, third, and fourth last offseason to move up for J.J. McCarthy and Dallas Turner. But on the flip side, and this is why, and then I saw like the free agent list, and there are some people you definitely are going to want to have back. Like Risner comes to mind. Aaron Jones, I would also bring back and draft a rookie in like the 5th round or something like that. But Minnesota has an estimated $69.5 million in cap space, and that is the 6th most in the league. And the big reason this is a success end to the season is because Sam Darnold was about to get paid an arm and a leg. After that Packers win, and I've said this in I think we were talking about this in our live stream yesterday. Check that out. I got a football podcast. The link's in the description if you ever want to listen to that post live on YouTube. But after the Packers win against my Green Bay Packers, right, the thought process that people were saying on TV and in articles were like, all right, Sam Darnold heading into that game was probably going to get like $40 million a year. Some team, whether it was Minnesota, Las Vegas, or what have you, that contract was going to start with a 4. And then you win against the Green Bay Packers, and Darnold has a really good football game, and people go on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday talking about Sam Darnold's future, and they're saying that number is now going to start with a 5. And then you lose to Detroit on the road in week 18 for the number 1 seed, and then obviously even worse performance, 9 total sacks from Sam Darnold. And I don't know, it seemed like he would look at his first read, it wouldn't be there. His second read wouldn't be there. And instead of finding the check down for easy completions, he would just like try and scramble out of it. And the Rams defensive line is extremely young. It's extremely hungry. And, obviously Sam Darnold's not to blame solely, but I think it is when you zoom out, it's just makes it more clear. Okay, JJ McCarthy was the future here. So now the contract, his free agency contract, it's projected to be around Baker Mayfield and Geno Smith. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler weighed in on the Darnold discourse yesterday and pointed out he's still the top free agent quarterback who is never going to get a contract that paid him approximately $50 million annually. So they said that all that speculation was just pure BS. Fowler also admitted his final 2 games don't help, but also said teams have forecasted him in Geno Smith / Baker Mayfield weight of contracts. So heading into this upcoming season, Baker Mayfield checks in with the 18th highest average annual value among quarterbacks at $33.3 million. And then Geno Smith is 19th at $25 million. So once again, huge difference. Oh, I actually have the article here. Last month, The Athletic Zach Kiefer reported some teams around the league thought giving Darnold a contract worth $40 million annually would be a better bet than drafting a rookie in the upcoming class. So like around the time the Packers lost that game or you guys beat the Packers, everyone was saying, oh, the Vikings should trade JJ McCarthy for a first round pick. It's such a bad quarterback draft class. There's no generational prospects. You have your future QB. His name's Sam Darnold. So, pay him what he needs to be paid and then trade JJ McCarthy for a first round pick and just make the team, a little bit more well-rounded. All of that is hearsay now. Like none of that. People are not down for that. And Sam Darnold, probably the last 2 games were the biggest of his entire NFL career, dating all the way back till college at USC. So I'm sure if a team like the Raiders pick him up, I'm sure he can have playoff success. But I really think JJ McCarthy is the future here. And there's a lot of really good pieces moving forward, specifically the defense. My one question mark with Minnesota right now is Brian Flores, because there's a lot of speculation he could be the head coach of teams like the Chicago Bears or the New York Jets or what have you. Brian Flores, unfortunately, might leave as the defensive coordinator, but Kevin O'Connell, good coaches hire good coaches, and I feel full faith in the GM and the head coach that they can get the right defensive coordinator over to Minnesota if/when Brian Flores ultimately leaves. Aaron Jones just had a phenomenal season. He turned 30 like 1 month ago, so he's going to be a free agent. I would give him another 1-year contract and draft a rookie at some point. You still have JJ, who had 1,500 plus receiving yards. Jordan Addison had almost 1,000, missing a handful of games. TJ Hawkinson missed the first half of the season. Jalen Naylor emerged as yes, he's wide receiver 3, and it's not even close. He had a phenomenal season, 28 catches for 414 yards, 6 touchdowns, averaging about 15 yards per catch. I remember that being a big thing with the Vikings this past offseason was, is Jalen Naylor ready to be wide receiver number 3? Do they need a wide receiver number 3 because KJ Osborne is in New England or whatever? So kind of lost track of time here, but my point is when you zoom out, Minnesota still looks really, really good. All right. The future is JJ, in my opinion. But hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. And guys, most importantly, let me know down below, who do you want the starting quarterback to be for the Minnesota Vikings down below next year?